It sound right, boy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to 4 or 5 Fans. This is a show for the fans, by the fans, and I'm so happy you guys are joining us for our 11th episode. I'm joined, as always, with Masood, Master Masood, our voice of reason and wisdom on the show, MJ, our Twitter correspondent, joining us today, and Mystic Sam is not available this week. He is in the mist, and we'll hope to have him back next week. I'm Money, and this is the show where we talk about MMA, everything that's going on in the UFC. And this weekend was UFC 258. We're going to talk about Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns for the welterweight championship of the world. And we're also going to get into the entire card and the prelims. Some of the prelims where there were some spectacular performances by a lot of fighters that some of you may not be aware of. All right, so without wasting any more time, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, get in the comments, let us know what you thought of the fights on the weekend, and get in the conversation to let us know. All right, guys, so UFC 258, it was a great card. We thought that it was going to be a boring card because there weren't so many I don't know, I guess famous names or hot names to come off the card. But we know, you guys know, we all know that whenever there isn't names or star quality in a sense, there's always going to be fireworks nonetheless. And that was the case. It was a great fight card, lots of great fights. Let's get into the first great performance of the night. Viana. There's a lot of people with V last names tonight.
V.
It says. So
Poliana.
she got performance of the night award for her submission, and I'm trying to bring up her opponent's name. I keep forgetting. Mallory Martin. Yeah, so Poliana Viana versus Mallory Martin, and Viana came into this as an underdog. People were kind of writing her off, thinking that just because she's, really good in the BJJ, she's a Brazilian BJJ, doesn't translate into the octagon. And that's true, as we saw later in the night, as we'll get into. But she looked fire, man. She looked absolutely ready to step in there. She looked aggressive. She looked kind of, I don't know, mean, aggressive. Wants to get after it. Isn't phased by whatever that's going on around.
She meant
Outside the
business.
octagon. Exactly. She means business. And even by the way, you can tell in her face that she is definitely not someone to mess with. Coincidentally, someone did try to mess with her apparently in the past and felt her wrath, to be fair. And that guy got absolutely destroyed.
You gotta be really unlucky, eh? Like you're trying to rob someone,
and she ends up being
like
a vicious
4
MMA
billion,
fighter,
yeah,
man.
4 billion
Yeah,
women.
And this is a strawweight female fighter. Imagine breaking into Francis Ngannou's car or house.
Oh my god. Yeah, man. So that guy got a straight beating. And then this fight, it was all one way. Mallory Martin didn't look up to par, or kind of got maybe in over her head a little bit. And great performance by Poliana. Made a big statement in her division, and I really hope to see her soon. I mean, see her back in the octagon soon, because, man, she looked deadly.
That was a great submission, man. That, he transitioned. He got the triangle first and then transitioned, and, he didn't let go of it. And
she didn't let go. Yeah.
She didn't let go of the submission, my bad. And she finally managed to get the armbar. That was very nice. That was a very nice transition.
This is a great opportunity for her to add to the hype, as fast as possible, because she finished the fight in 2 minutes. So in situations like this, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see her, in a couple months, because
I really do hope so.
Damage, So she'll be back soon, and that's gonna even add more to the hype,
Yeah, man, great performance. It was a great submission, and what I really liked it was that she was so busy off of her back and so busy like in the ground situations, always kind of looking to disrupt her, not letting her think about what she's doing because she knows that down there she doesn't need to think. It's like second nature to her, right? But I'm pretty sure Mally or Martin needs to think how to guard this, how to defend this, how to do this. It's just, levels to it. But when
Yeah.
you're that versed in BJJ, you don't think about it that much. It comes to you, and the moves and the transitions and stuff is natural. So the fact that she was so busy on the ground, landing 71 strikes in a 3 minute fight that was mostly on the ground, great, great. I really like to see that, and a lot of you don't see that a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and guess what? Her last match was also a first round, the armbar finish in the UFC. So she's
Look out
really
for
something
her.
to look out for. Yeah.
Yeah, man, deadly, deadly. Anyways, let's move on from her to another great prelim fight where Belal, remember the name Mouhammad, took on Diego Lima. Diego Lima, to say the least, was very, very underwhelming. I mean, I don't know what was going on, if it was because of the long layoff, where they're I don't even know when he last fought. Maybe it wasn't such a long layoff.
2019,
Oh,
he had two decision victories in
okay, so it is a
2019.
relatively long layoff,
Relatively, yeah,
and yeah, he looked kind of rusty in my opinion.
yeah.
And Mohammed definitely went in there needing to prove a point, wanting to prove a point, because in the lead up up to the fight, all he's kind of saying is that why is nobody respecting me? Why is nobody's ever saying me to be a contender when they talk about my name? And
That was the theme of the night, eh?
it was, yeah, a lot of people wanting
It
to
was the
like prove
champions of the
prove themselves. But Bilal Muhammad, he definitely did prove himself. This striking output that he put out was incredible. I mean, 136 strikes out of 248. I mean, this guy did not tire. Relentless pressure, relentless strikes, and a variety of strikes. It was a great fight, very entertaining. But Lima kind of got into it a little late, I guess. I got woke up a little late, I guess,
Yeah.
because he landed a few calf kicks towards
Ye-
more than a
the
few.
Yeah.
end,
Those
though,
those were
middle
hurt.
middle
I
towards
was
the
gonna
end.
say,
Those
man.
kicks were hurting Muhammad.
Yeah,
If
for
if had
sure.
he started throwing those in the
A little
first
bit
round,
earlier. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, we
yeah.
might have seen a Connor versus Dustin situation.
But
Yeah,
even so,
perhaps
Yeah.
he
I was
wasn't being
really,
careful.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
really impressed with Bilal's endurance. Just
Mm.
because his leg, I saw that, man. He was limping after the fight. His leg was
Yeah.
He
almost
got
done.
hurt. Yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely got hit, and he
but
got
he kept pushing. He
peppered.
kept moving like to the
Yeah.
last second. He was
Lima
just at it.
probably
Yeah.
Lima probably regrets not throwing those earlier. That they would have they may have
Yeah,
changed the
100%. I mean, I was kind of thinking like, ooh, like how many of those can he take before he's gonna fall again? Like we're gonna see another fighter, just
yeah.
go weak on the foot again,
Yeah,
because
but just
that's
not
just
not just the kicks. He was just like not as busy. Maybe the first
yeah.
round.
Lima was just not busy at all
He
throughout the
started pretty
fight.
late. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Even
some
later in the
fighters
fight,
are
he
like
still
that.
wasn't
Yeah.
letting it go, man. He
Yeah.
had
No, but
some
just like the beginning stages of the fight, it was just.
yeah. He
I
was just
mean,
trying to feel
yeah,
his way
sure, it
out.
takes a few minutes, to like fill each other out, but like
Yeah.
I
if
think he
you
was
wait
too
too long,
himself out. I think because
or
like
maybe
he was
that.
just
Yeah,
like, man, I haven't been doing this in a while. Where am I? Kind of thing.
yeah.
That's kind of the ring rust feeling I got from Lima. But Bilal Muhammad took a lot of hits. I mean, he kind of relied on his chin and I guess his leg a little bit too, which is not something you want to do at welterweight because the damage is a little higher there.
Yeah.
But coming back to Bilal remembering the name Muhammad, these long nicknames kind of get me. Anyways, what do you guys think about his chances in the welterweight? Has he shown enough? Did he show enough in this fight and overall to be considered a contender in the welterweight?
Yeah, yeah. You're not gonna put him against a top 10 right now.
So you clearly don't
No, I
rate him
do,
then,
but
right?
I mean, or maybe I should say top 5. He maybe yeah, he does deserve someone. Like maybe like 10th, 9th, 8th ranked in the welterweight. But I wouldn't put him like all the way up as of right
Absolutely,
now.
yeah, absolutely not all the way up. But
Maybe
he's a good
yeah,
fighter, and he needs to be tested
for
more. They
sure,
need to
yeah.
give him a top 10 contender, test the waters.
I can see
He is
him
a good
breaking
fighter.
into the top 10,
Yeah,
being,
he's a tough guy.
between 5 to 10, but I don't see him breaking into
Yeah.
top 5
Well, I mean, you got
ever.
to give him the chance, right? Like he's on the right path for sure. You just got to
Yeah.
give him the chance to see like
Mm, I don't
and
know,
you can tell,
man.
I mean, you can never tell
After
until
one
like
or
you
two
test him out.
fights Hamza had, people were already considering him for a title shot. That just tells you the difference when you see it.
Yeah, obviously, but I mean,
Do you
you
see
know,
that in this guy? I don't. I
it's
don't know. I'm just being honest. I
Well,
guess.
not maybe
But
title shot,
but
but
but then again,
top
Hamzat
five.
is out due to COVID and is still recovering. And uh, we've seen some footballers not come back right.
yeah.
Uh, Maybe fighters might not come back right either.
Well, I just saw a post right before the show. Like
Abdul,
no, no,
is
no,
his agent said something?
no, Hamza. Apparently he's going to Las Vegas
Yeah, his
to
agent
get
said that.
treated.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's going there for treatment, and hopefully he'll be ready by April.
June.
I think
He
June.
said
Wow,
June. Yeah,
June.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
hopefully by June. So
So
that's
yeah.
bad. That means he's had
I mean
some bad health
yeah,
That
problems,
is
man.
very unfortunate, man.
but
If
that
if he
sounds
doesn't come back,
realistic.
And
June.
if he doesn't come back the same, it's so
it's
sad.
it's very sad. Yeah,
So
it's
sad.
very
You just
very sad.
literally had a killer who got like curbed by a real killer, like a
Yeah,
biological killer
yeah.
in
He
a
can,
virus.
that's the only thing that can beat Hamzat, probably
Exactly,
by
right?
decision. Yeah.
Split.
Hopefully that's not the case.
And if his
Let's
lungs are compromised, long term, permanently, that's very sad.
damn, damn. Yeah, let's not dwell
Yeah,
on
it's
that
not.
fact,
Yeah.
and let's not
Hopefully,
hope
it's not a
for that.
fact.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully he'll be back, and they're looking for a new opponent for Leon Edwards. They're saying Kobe, but we'll see. We'll get into that a little bit later. Moving on from the early prelims, going into the featured prelim of the night, which we look forward to this fight. I think everybody was looking forward to this. You had an undefeated fighter coming into it. I think everybody just
With 7.
kind of gravitates towards that. So Rodolfo Vieira versus Anthony Hernandez. And Adolfo Vieira coming into this 7-0 and being multiple world BJJ champion. Joe Rogan was waxing lyrical about this guy when he was walking into the octagon, because we all know Joe Rogan is a BJJ nut, and he was just going off. And this guy, he's like done this in Dubai, he's done this and that, this and that. He is a world-class BJJ practitioner and this and that. And then the fight was absolutely I don't know what happened, but he clearly gassed himself out going for an early submission. Um,
Inside 2 minutes,
Early
two and a
takedown and
half
early
minutes.
Listen,
submission.
that 2 minutes, the first 2 minutes was incredible. The way
Gassed
he
them
was,
hard.
yeah, but he got gassed out, and like there was a point where he mounted Hernandez, and he tried to throw some punches, and it literally looked like a meathead in a bar fight or something.
Yeah, like he's too
He,
drunk to throw.
yeah, he didn't even like know how to properly ground and pound. Like it shows that he's like so focused on BJJ. Like he's still in that BJJ world champ mentality. He thinks he can probably get through just 6 submission wins. So he came undefeated with 7 finishes, 6 with submissions. I mean, he needs to work on his conditioning, on his striking, on his ground, on so many things.
So many things.
Before he can even fight with literally any middleweight. Because he better get lucky with take someone down and submit them right away. Because he is not the hype,
he almost got it at the beginning.
Almost, but yeah.
Still though, even against someone Anthony Hernandez, who didn't have such a big reputation coming into this, he defended it. He was fine.
And his striking standing was terrible, man. It was
terrible.
Awful.
Oh yeah.
So Masood, just going back to what you said, would you say that this is something that he can improve, he can work on?
Definitely,
is he just not ready for the UFC?
No, man, that body is definitely made to fight.
That body is made to fight, but I don't think technically, I don't think he's ready for UFC fighters, man.
Yeah,
I really don't think so. He got a submission.
How long is a jiu-jitsu match? Like,
I mean, it depends.
It's 3 minutes?
No, it's like 7 minutes. In like pro, it's like 10+ minutes, I think.
Okay, so they fight for a long time. Still relatively, need a
gas tank,
gas tank, right?
Yeah, but like here's the thing: in fighting, when you're getting hit, if you don't know how to strike properly and you're getting hit, it drains you. It drains your energy. Every kick, every punch you absorb, it also drains you get all these stress hormones released every time you get hit.
Yeah.
If you're not ready for
that,
it piles on.
And he wouldn't have probably been submitted by Anthony Hernandez had he not been gassed out.
Yeah, maybe he should take a year to just work his ass if he's planning to stay in the UFC. Which I'm pretty sure Dana White will give him one or two more shots. Just take a year. Just work on your striking, on your conditioning, on your ground and pound. Maybe consider, I don't know how much this guy usually walks around with in terms of weight. Consider cutting down to welterweight. I don't know. Do whatever it takes to. Do
you think this is a completely deep rooted issue though? You don't think it's possible maybe he just made a mistake or had an adrenaline dump or something of the sort?
What I saw there was not good. What I saw, because
you don't see the technique there. Yeah?
I did not see the technique even on the ground. Not grappling, but when like the first 2 minutes he was
in the
scramble. In a mount position. He was completely in a dominant position, and the way he was throwing punches at his head, it did not look like a pro MMA fighter.
Yeah, it looked like slaps of
looked like
BJJ.
Some drunk guy got on top of another one, some meathead, like swinging like I don't know.
Yeah,
that did not look good. He needs to work on his game, because I don't see him getting to the top. He might be able to submit a guy or two, that has no background in grappling. Strikers, but he needs to work on his overall game.
Let's talk about Anthony Hernandez, man, because this guy came into the fight biggest underdog of the card, and he didn't take that at all. He went in there and lit this guy up. He kind of weathered out the early storm of whatever that was, if you want to call it that, and and as soon as this guy was gassed out, he got back into the right positions, got back into back standing, kind of peppered him all over the place, all through his guard. He had no distance control or anything going on, whatever, and no blocking either. He was just hitting him through his guard, no problem. And the times that Rodolfo went back to try to clinch or grapple with him, he was comfortable, never doubted himself, and put himself in a good position to dominate. And yeah, good performance by him, man. He got performance of the night bonus, and very deserve it.
Yeah, I also wanted to say Rodolfo, he just looks so muscular. That body, I've never seen an MMA fighter in that division. Like this Yoel Romero, but he looks leaner, you know.
Yeah.
He looks so jacked and just he does not look like a, I don't know.
He's super lean, I think. He looked
maybe that's why he gassed out.
Yeah, I think it's extra muscle. He has extra muscle on him too. He can't swing his arms. He can't. He needs. I think he needs to.
Yeah, his body was not on point, I guess.
DC made a little joke too. He's like, everyone keeps telling me you're too fat, but see what all that muscle gets you.
He's absolutely right.
That was funny.
He's not
that guy.
But hats off to Hernandez, man. He deserves all the credit.
Definitely, fluffy.
Oh yeah.
Not the greatest.
The way the first 10, 20 seconds he got dumped on the ground, I was like, this guy's done.
Same, yeah. I was like, damn, we're going for the sub right away.
That's it. He's done under a minute. And then he mounted and I was like, yeah, that's it. He's done.
No, man. He got out of that. Very good performance by him.
Hernandez, I can see him getting somewhere for sure.
100%. Although, let's be fair,
he's got the right attitude.
Rodolfo didn't look like he didn't challenge him enough. I mean, he gassed himself. He took himself out of the fight. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Rodolfo with the gas tank against him, maybe another story. Anyhow, let's get into the main card, and it started off with a great fight with Maki Patolo versus Julian Marquez,
Cuban Missile Crisis.
The battle of nicknames, right? Yeah. Coconut bombs versus the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It was an island fight, yeah.
Anyways, so Maki Patolo looking kind of solid for the first 2 rounds. Working technically, pressing, using the clinch. But then in the 3rd round, Julian was like, damn, I need to win this. As his coach, his corner told him that, we don't have the first 2 rounds. You got to go win this somehow. And he did. He went out there and he won. First of all, he started landing some good strikes in the 3rd round to begin with. He was landing some haymakers, trying to maybe get the finish that way. And some of them were landing on Patolo. And then in one of those clinch situations, he started I think it was a guillotine at first, or
he transitioned
into a
anaconda.
It started off as a guillotine, I think. Maki Patolo went for a takedown. Started off as a guillotine, and then he flipped it around into a anaconda and got the submission victory. Great performance and the call out after the fight. So this is basically the best way you can use airtime on national TV. Take notes in case you ever get airtime on national TV, on any kind of pay-per-view TV. This is how you use it. So you use the first 2 minutes to talk about some sort of promotion with Dana White about fans getting back into this. I'm like, bro, we're so far away from that. And making it an international thing, no. Anyway, so you use 2 minutes to just promote some event, something about Twitter. And then at the end, he called out Miley Cyrus and asked her to be his Valentine.
But he blew it.
Did he? He got a response.
Yeah, well, he got a response, and then he goes on and he makes more demands.
Yeah, he did blow it. So Miley Cyrus came back and said, if you shave MC Miley Cyrus, her initials, onto his chest hair, because in the interview it was very evident that he had a nice foliage going, and he came back with another response, which was, what was it, Marat?
He's like, get a tattoo on your belly.
Cuban Missile Crisis on your belly or something like that.
That's where, yeah.
Oh, yeah, a henna tattoo. A henna tattoo, which is a temporary one. But I'm like,
But
dude, you just got like a tweet back, like take that,
And
and
then
take that, and
I think DC said something back to Marquez like, "This is the guy who's never had a girlfriend before," or something like that.
oh snap, he said something like
DC
that. I
said
missed
that to
that.
Marquez. Yeah, DC is savage these days. Yesterday, but anyways,
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
He also had a long layoff. 2018, he fought Chirico. Yeah, D Chirico. Yeah, and he lost by split decision, and he's back in 2021. So lots of long layoffs that are coming back. But it was a good performance, man. He showed heart, and he got a nice submission there.
Yeah, man, great performance. I mean, we see a lot of fights where in the third round they say the fighter, you got to win this to win the fight, and a lot of times you don't see that happening. In fact, you don't see a whole lot. You don't see any kind of like that kind of will and heart to go out there and actually get the victory. So hats off to him. He also got performance of the night award.
You guys think this is it for Coconut Bumps? He lost 4 of his last 5. Three of his 3 losses in a row.
I feel as though the UFC has a certain roster list or a certain list of fighters that they just keep on the fly, or like they just kind of keep in a box in a sense where they just pull them out whenever they need it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Maki Pitolo fits that bill.
Yeah, he's always ready. I mean, like he's fought 4 times since June 2020. So
yeah, I feel as though as the UFC, some of these fighters that are always game or are always available, or like they're fighting a lot or are very active, I feel as though the UFC keeps them on board maybe longer and doesn't necessarily look at what's going on with their wins and losses in a sense. It's good and bad. And
events,
yeah, it's good and bad in some senses, but I feel as though the wins, the win and losses and the records and stuff, they kind of only become relevant and how do you say
like once you
should consider it, is when you're like towards retirement. Is when you're getting older and you're getting beaten convincingly and stuff like that, because Maki didn't get beaten convincingly. I mean, he was winning the first 2 rounds. Marquez showed something different in the third and got the victory. So it wasn't a devastating loss in that sense either. So no, I don't think he's done in the UFC. I don't see that.
Yeah. Hopefully he's a good fighter. Hopefully we see him again.
Anywho, let's move on. So
Ricky Simon.
Yes, I mean this fight. I mean it was such a one-way fight. Ricky Simmons versus Brian Kelleher. It was one-way traffic. Brian Kelleher did not look like he was up to it, and I feel as though that very early cut on his eye really affected his performance. I think it got into his thing. It kept getting into his eye. It was his vision was compromised, and I think I think that may have done a lot to kind of throw Brian off of whatever he wanted to do in that fight. But yeah, Ricky Simmons just took the fight to him, dominated him on the ground. Lots of strikes, always on the front feet. Great performance.
His third win in 8 months, 9 months.
Nice. He also had a call out or something in his interview. No, I forget.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to. I know.
Yeah,
he
called someone. I think so.
Yeah, he's already had 2 wins in 2021. That's incredible.
No way.
2 months, yeah. January 20th.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's his third win in 8 months.
Kevin Holland of 2021.
He literally fought 3 weeks ago.
Where's Kevin Holland, dog? That guy should be fighting like every month. What happened?
They're coming back.
Oh,
Anyhow, yeah, great performance by Ricky Simmons. Not such a spectacular fight. I mean, pretty much one way, dominant. Brian Kelleher didn't show much. Pretty much all she wrote for that, really. Let's move on to the Calvin Gastelum fight, a fight that we were looking forward to the most, probably out of all the fights, because we're big fans of Calvin Gastelum. That fight he had with Izzy was, it'll just go down in history, always. And tonight he's coming. He came on UFC 258. He was coming off of 3 losses, and it's definitely not easy to come back from that. And he came back, had a great performance against a game Ian Heinisch, who's also looking to make his way up, in the division, similar type of placement. And Calvin Gastelum showed that, a lot of the stuff that he was doing well in the past, he was doing them again. And I think he looked really good mentally, contrary to what Mystic Sam said last week about how this guy has no fight IQ. He showed that he has excellent fight IQ.
I said that last show that just the way he's talking
Matured,
to media, just the way he's carrying himself.
Absolutely.
Just before the fight, you could see that he's given up on all the extra BS, and he's focused on what matters. He's focused on his opponent, and that's it, nothing else. Yeah, and you definitely showed that, and kudos to his wrestling coach. I know Dariush doesn't want to be associated as a coach, but Kevin said it himself. He said he helped me a lot, tremendously, and we saw that with his wrestling. And Ian Heinisch is a good wrestler, and to do that to him, that was
man, absolutely. Yeah, we thought that Ian Heinisch would have possibly the advantage in wrestling due to his height advantage, and he looks like a bigger guy just overall. We really thought that he would, kind of be dominant on the ground, but that was not the case, man. Calvin definitely showed great technique, great wrestling skills, lots of good transitions and great scrambles all over.
That was incredible, man. To out wrestle a bigger wrestler than him. He looked way bigger. Like if you guys, even during the weigh-in, he just looked. Ian just looked very big and strong.
Calvin clearly is a welterweight, or like his height is a welterweight.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he used to fight at welterweight.
He's wide though, eh?
He just can't cut that weight.
Yeah.
But man, a few times during the fight, I got nervous with that Kimura. He gave that Kimura a couple of times.
Yeah, pretty early too, eh?
Yeah. But but he was able to get out of it both times, and also the takedowns where he ate 2 knees in, I think, rounds 2 and 3, but he finished the takedowns both times, which was incredible, man. I was very impressed by Calvin. He lost 3 fights in a row against 3 really good fighters. He went to a hell with Izzy. Nobody has done that against Izzy.
Nobody.
And that was incredible. I hope, and he said, and Calvin said that in the interview that he's ready to jump in the Costa Whitaker fight in case one of them pulls out for whatever reason. I honestly think he's ready for those guys. He's at that level for sure. He is.
Yeah, I think he's ready as well. I don't know whether he would deserve that.
He wouldn't deserve it, but
that's an arbitrary word in UFC.
He was there, He was
deserved.
He was he was very close to the title, if you guys remember.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
He was very close to fighting Whitaker, but then things happened and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Good fight.
So what would you have next for him?
Gastelum. I don't know.
I mean,
why not Khabib? I mean,
no.
not Khabib. Sorry, my bad.
Hamza.
Sorry, I didn't mean Khabib.
At middleweight,
Hamza,
right?
yeah.
But apparently Hamza wants to stay at welterweight or wants to compete at welterweight. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
But I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with Hamza. I honestly, I don't think we can really discuss him because first of all, he only had 3 fights in the UFC. All of his hype, you can clearly say, is gone. So if there's no more hype, then why should he be, bumped up to do, really hyped up fights? Like I think when he comes back, if he comes back, when he comes back, he should be fighting, another up and comer, nothing special again. And should he show the same dominance, then be hyped up again and whatever.
Who, Hamza?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Right now he's ranked what? 15th, 14th,
15th, but it's very arbitrary again.
Yeah. Oh, he just moved up to 14th.
In welterweight. Oh, he moved up? What?
Yeah, I don't know why. It says Robbie Lawler moved down 1 spot to 15th. Hamza moved up to 14th. But still, whatever. Not my point. My point is, obviously, as you said, he's right now he's 14th. I know he's hyped. We've seen what he can do, but yeah, you gotta take it easy with him. You gotta give him someone. Maybe like Bilal Muhammad would actually make sense. He's 13th right now. He's on a roll. Hamza's on a roll. Let's see.
Bilal Muhammad would be a good fight.
Yeah. But I mean, like, we were ready for Leon Edwards versus Hamza, right?
Yeah, I know. But
that's number third,
it's gone though. It's gone, and that was still unfair to Leon anyway.
But do you go from like number 3 all the way down to fighting number 13?
Yeah, if you're 14th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
It was unfair for Leon to begin with, and the UFC only strong armed him into taking the fight by taking him out of the rankings, which was a dick move.
Yeah.
But now Hamza's gone. I mean, he might not make a miraculous comeback or whatever. He might not be dominant anymore. His hype is gone. So Leon, now they're talking about Colby, which is the right fight to talk about, at least.
Leon,
not necessarily sure it's going to get made, but it's the right path, the right way to go. And Leon at number 3, Colby at 5 makes sense.
Colby is first right now.
At first?
Yeah. I don't
know.
He's
how, first. Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, for Leon Edwards, I think the next fight should be, a fight that would get him the title fight next.
Anyways, let's get back to this conversation. Let's just round off the Calvin Gastelum conversation. I mean, the middleweight division sort of opens up with Izzy moving up to light heavyweight. Should he win the title at UFC 259? The middleweight division is pretty much open, and I have a feeling that the UFC is going to go for an interim belt, probably. Work something out for an interim belt. Yeah, whether it'll be Costa Whitaker or perhaps the fight after that, like the winner of that with someone or something. So we'll have to see what happens with the Izzy Jan fight. Should Izzy lose, though, he probably would go back to middleweight, and at least the UFC would tell him that you would have to go to middleweight and defend.
Yeah.
At least that's what logic would dictate. I don't know how much pull he has with the UFC at this point.
I don't think the John Jones fight would make sense if he doesn't win the light heavyweight.
Oh, absolutely not.
If he wins, maybe that's next for him. But
even if he does win, John Jones is adamant that he's moved to heavyweight.
Yeah, but they might fight big money fight, some catch weight fight. I don't know.
Nah, I don't see that happening.
But Jones
both of these
be
guys
for a while,
have been talking way
busy.
too much to make compromises.
Yeah,
I don't think neither of these guys are gonna make compromises for each other. Anyhow, yeah, so middleweight division, we'll see. Have to see what happens. Calvin is definitely in the mix now. Let's move on to the co-main event. The co-main event was between Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. Alexa Grasso, she's from Mexico, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So coming from Mexico, we don't have a lot of Mexican fighters, and whenever we do have Mexican fighters, they're awesome. Freaking awesome.
Moreno.
Yeah, Moreno, the other one coming off. Yeah. Anyhow, so the co-main event, I mean, I was questioning why this was a co-main event. My question wasn't necessarily answered, to be fair, but Alexa Grasso did, put out a great performance. It was pretty much the fight, everybody kind of expected it would be. But Alexa Grasso showed definite signs of like, an extra level of class, especially in the striking, wow, that shit was crisp, as they said.
I said it last week too. She's got great boxing. And Macy Barber may not be able to handle that because she's more of a dirty boxer, if you may. She's like better in the clinch. But I don't wanna sit here and quote DC all night. But just
what you do every week, man.
Just one more. No, this is really
DC fanboy.
Right, this is no. It's just actually I'm not sure if I agree with this one, but just saying this is what he said. He's like Alexa Grasso right now. She's the best boxer in women's MMA. Do you guys agree with that, or is that
okay? To be fair, DC retracted that right away on the air. So
he said pure boxer. So like,
I don't think he meant that at all. Because how can you say that like when she's not even a contender or whatnot?
Well, I mean, you don't have to be like. I mean, she's on she's on the way up, right? She might be a contender, and
coming into this fight, she was ranked 15th.
Yeah, I know.
While Macy Barber was 10th.
She's really young,
So
you could
with
have
this
like
victory,
great
you can
boxing,
see her going into
but
like
because
7.
no one has seen you against the top guys, like you haven't proven it yet. But doesn't mean that your boxing is bad. So your rank doesn't really. I'm just saying, like in terms of what you guys saw, do you agree with what he said?
No, absolutely not. Amanda Nunes' boxing has got to be top notch. Has to be one of the best.
I mean,
with knockout power.
Absolutely, yeah. But like again,
even Holly Holm, man.
Yeah, I don't know if
she
it
used
made
to be a professional
sense,
boxer.
He was saying like pure boxing. That's more like kickboxing mixed with Muay Thai, and so I don't know. I guess he was just getting too technical.
Yeah, I think it was a misunderstanding on what he said. I mean, I think he didn't want to say that. I don't think. I don't know, but definitely, I don't know if we can even go anywhere with the best in anything with this fight because they're just not there yet. They have potential. I definitely see Alexa Grasso having potential.
You know what I was thinking? Look a little.
We lost your voice there a little bit. Sorry.
No, I just said I thought Macy Barber also, made her look too good, a little bit to a point. She was off, especially the first 2 rounds. I don't know what she was doing, man.
Macy Barber is just.
I don't think she was off. I don't think that's just her style. I think
she's just inexperienced, man.
Her style is a little bit brawlish, brawling and getting into your face. Try to get into the clinch.
The jabs and
yeah. I think that Alexa Grasso outclassed her in the striking for sure. I mean, she definitely looked really crisp and technical all the way throughout. But whenever she was faced with situations in the clinch where Macy Barber tried to close the gap, she looked even just as much in control as she did, in the striking ranges. So I thought she probably improved in like many of our other aspects of her game a lot throughout this time, and we most likely haven't seen all there is to come of Alexa Grasso. for sure. I think she's like one of those fighters who's very smart and also has the ability to learn and continue to evolve and improve.
Yeah, we saw
And
that when she moved up to flyweight,
yeah,
and I think this improved her game a lot. It
Yeah.
suits her better, this weight class.
yeah, for
She
sure. I
looks
think
bigger. She has more power.
yeah,
Because
she
she's
used
still
to be
fast.
straw weight, right?
Strawweight,
Yeah, and
yeah,
then moved
yeah.
up to
Because she still
flyweight
has the speed.
for sure.
It's just more power right now.
And she started MMA and training and stuff later in life a little bit. Not necessarily that later in life or anything, but not as a child. Basically,
Compared
that's
to
what and compared to many others who obviously have wrestling and other kinds of backgrounds. And the fact that she improved this much in such a short period of time, and how crisp her striking, how technical she looks, that shows to me that she has an extreme threshold to learn and to improve and to like take up instructions and kind of learn the trade and the craft and stuff. So
so maybe
I,
one
I don't
day
I don't know.
she'll be the best boxer, but not yet.
Yes, yeah, maybe 100%. And maybe, and
Yeah.
that's maybe what DC entered might have meant by
She
saying
has the
that I
potential
see her being one of the
yeah,
best
yeah,
boxers in MMA, and that's a fair
for
statement. Yeah,
sure, yeah.
you can say that. But what I kind of question is the thing where if you don't wrestle as a kid or if you don't do that stuff growing up, how much of that can you learn afterwards?
Yeah, at a high level.
Masood, what do you think?
Um, I mean, with wrestling, it's best to start very early on. Like those top level wrestlers that we see in the UFC and MMA, they all started as a child.
So, what do you
So
think about Alexa Grasso's chances, though, in the in the flyweight women's division?
just in general, I think she
Yeah,
has a
yeah.
good chance of getting a title shot eventually, for sure. I mean, it's not flyweight. How stacked is the
Shevchenko.
flyweight? I mean, Shevchenko is just
That's it. It's just
she's
there. That's
sitting
her.
there. She's
That's the
sitting
that's
up
the
there.
division.
No, come on.
Shevchenko is just sitting there and just nobody she
Shevchenko
gets
is the
her.
division, man. Come on,
Yeah,
accept
Yeah,
it.
for
it's
sure. But
like
I mean, like you got
I don't.
Chukagian,
But if they toss Alexa Grasso straight into a title fight soon, that would not be
no,
fair.
no,
yeah. I
no,
think
You
I
no,
could
think
easily see them do
no.
that, though. Come on.
Yeah. No, I think you know what I thought would make sense? Joanne Calderwood. She just got a win a
yeah,
couple weeks ago.
yeah, that could make sense.
She's ranked sixth.
Yeah,
So
that's a good shout out. Yeah.
With her
yeah,
kickboxing, I think with her kickboxing, Collarwood has a bit of an advantage over
yeah.
Grasso. Because Micey Barber, you said she looked off. I don't think she looked off. She's just inexperienced. She's a
No,
kid,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
22,
exactly.
Very young.
still learning. Dana White called her a baby. He said she has a future. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
imagine her in 5 years.
Oh yeah.
But she
By no
showed heart.
means is she done.
Yeah, yeah. In the third round, she came back. She showed heart. She's learning. She's just not at the highest level right now.
Yeah.
She'll get there in a few years. But
All right, guys. Let's move on. Let's move on to the main event of the evening, which was Usman versus Burns. Man, this fight had me kind of like this the entire time. I was just like, which way is this gonna go? And it went one way again. So Gilbert Burns coming into this fight, ex teammates. They had over 200 rounds of sparring sessions together, very familiar with each other, and very good friends before this fight, and I'm sure after this fight maybe too. I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
I'm just because they hugged it out crying doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And I don't
there's
know.
no
I don't.
handshake.
And you don't even know what Usman said to him. He might have talked bear trash.
I don't think so. No, man.
That would have
No,
that would be
no.
rough. But I
No,
can
no.
see that from him.
Apparently, he
I
said
don't
this
like.
is this is what was out
I
there.
think the tension was because it was just hard for both of them to do this.
Oh yeah.
They did it. They knew they had to do it and not have any emotions for each other. But it was just tough for both of them, because they're very close to each other, right? But man, what a fight. Let's talk
What a
about the fight.
fight. Yeah, man. Gilbert Burns comes in like, out of the barn doors, and even I think the handshake thing probably even helped that out a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Usman didn't offer his hand. And then Burns just came out flying, trying to go for big punches and landing a few, rocking Usman in the first round. Everybody was just thinking, oh my God, is it going to happen? This guy's rocked. Uh, but
I
there's,
mean, how do you not
the,
get the finish
there's
after
a
that?
big but. Um, Usman survived. And the fact that he survived the first round won him the fight, basically. Because as soon as he got back to his corner and his cornerman talked to him and talked about the technique and what he needs to do with his jab to this very on rushing Burns, as soon as he got that technique down, or he got the range down, it was over. It was over. He knocked him down with his jab, knocked Gilbert Burns down with his jab, and Burns got caught by that jab, trying to come forward, trying to rush.
That was the second one though. The first one was a straight right, I believe. The second one
The
I was a
first
jab.
knockdown,
Sorry,
you
it was
mean?
first knockdown.
The
Yeah.
first
Yeah, I'm talking about
knockdown
the end,
was a one
the,
two.
the, the
Yeah,
end of the
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah. I mean, Usman knocked him down with the jab. Yeah,
Yeah.
before that for sure, and
Straight
that's
jab.
why his coach was saying stick to the jab, because
Yeah,
that
straight.
jab is working.
No, he knocked him down with a straight right hand, and then he knocked him down with a
The
jab. That's
second
what.
time with the
Yeah,
jab.
Oh
Yeah.
right, okay. So the first knockdown. So the first knockdown where he wanted him to come into his guard and he wouldn't, right?
yeah.
And he wouldn't let him up, and he kept kicking his legs and stuff. Yeah, that was the first round. At the end of the first round, where Gilbert had, sorry, end of the second round, where
Yeah.
Gilbert rushed in and then kind of got knocked down, but he wasn't hurt. But Usman wouldn't go into his guard. But in the third round, knocked him down, asked him to get up again. I think didn't want to engage at all because he knew the finish was coming. And yeah, finished the fight with a TKO. Just some ground and pound once he knocked him down with that straight jab in the third round. But Gilbert Burns in the first round, man, I honestly thought he had a chance. He rocked him, but I feel as though Usman obviously has a good chin to rely on for sure. And what he said afterwards in the interviews was that he's felt that before. He's felt Burns' punch before,
That
and
exact punch too. He
that
said he's
exact punch,
yeah,
where
Yeah.
he would bring it on into the
yeah.
training, where he would try to rock him in training, and yeah. So I guess the training and all that stuff helped Usman more than it did Burns, if you want to really think about it.
I mean, not just his experience with Burns, but his experience overall as a fighter.
Absolutely.
It's just crazy, man, to see that. Like, I mean, I don't know if it was just me or the first round, Usman looked kind of slow, and I realized that after that it was because he got rocked, and he came back in the second round, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. I thought it's going the other way, and then it just changed. In 30 seconds, he went to his corner, came back, and he was a different fighter. He took control of the fight, and that just shows your mentality, man. As a champion, I don't care if you like this guy, if you hate him. That was a great performance, and he's really. I mean, let's ignore the Jorge fight. He's really changing his
Yeah.
game. He's really changing the way he's going into fights, finishing fights, and getting results. And I respect that, man. He's
Yeah.
really evolving as a fighter and as a champion.
Yeah, even we call him boring, but honestly, he's underappreciated by us, by everyone else. He's a complete fighter, complete in every sense, and he really is the best welterweight at the time, at the moment, and he just beats everybody that comes, that challenges him. So kudos to him, man.
and still relatively young.
Yeah.
He can still get better. He can still stay at the top for a while, I guess.
Yeah, why do you guys think? Why is he so underappreciated, and why is he so pissed off about it?
Is
Well,
he
I mean,
pissed off about it?
I get why he's pissed off about it. I mean, his
I
record and everything just speaks for itself.
I mean, he's had a.
But the fact that he's underappreciated or just not hyped or he's just not necessarily a fan favorite, I think that comes down to a lot of things. It's not necessarily you know about just one thing or the other. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. So, first of all, you have his previous fights, which, a lot of people may have not been excited by, barring the Covington fight. The Covington fight I thought was pretty fun.
That was a good fight, yeah.
But, I mean, some of his other fights, yes, may have not been. And before he got the belt, he had a few nice fights in the UFC. I mean, I know a lot of people don't remember those now, but he did have knockouts and such. But uh, it's a combination. It's a combination of how you fight, who you are, how you hold yourself, and the type of vibe and mentality you give off. Me as someone who watches all the fights, is probably can be considered a relatively hardcore MMA fan. I am not a fan of Kamaru Usman, but I fully respect what he does and what he has done in the welterweight division and what he is in the welterweight division. But that still doesn't make me like him or make me root for him.
Yeah.
And whether
Honestly,
that's a
I don't.
personal opinion or not,
Yeah.
sure, or whether it's something that has to do with the fighter, I think there's a level of that too. And it's a combination of everything, so when he comes out after the press conference and demands to be respected and demands to be liked and hyped because of how good he is, maybe that's the problem.
I was just gonna say there's nothing wrong with that, man. When you say you don't like him as a as a person or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that. You're not obligated to like every fight that there is. But again, yeah, I think he was just talking about being appreciated more, not liked per se. As you said, like you
Appreciated
said,
by who though?
no, as a fighter, just in terms of what he's done
By fans though,
in the
right?
sport. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, by everyone, just like in terms of his stats, his records, overall as a fighter, what he's done, what he's accomplished, he needs he deserves respect. But if whether you like him or not, as a person, because at the end of the day, these guys are in the entertainment business, right? So you want to be entertained by fighting, by watching a fight. You want to be entertained. So again, I don't care if you like him, you don't, but it's just that I think what he was trying to get out there was that he's underappreciated and he just demands respect
Yeah.
for what he's done, not to be liked, or
Yeah.
maybe I'm just
Yeah.
that's what I got from it.
Yeah, the thing is, he doesn't hype up the fights necessarily that much. Maybe that's part of it. He doesn't trash talk or, you know, he may
Uh,
seem boring in that sense. And then he comes in. Sometimes he has very impressive and incredible fights, which are exciting. And then there's fights like the fight against Jorge Masvidal. You know, I feel like if you're a fighter that hypes the fights up and trash talks and have exciting fights, example McGregor, then you get the most appreciation and respect. But if you do one or the other or none, then that just brings it lower. I feel like people see Kamaru Usman as somebody who has like some boring fights, and he also doesn't talk much. So it's like nothing's happening. People just don't see the hype or
yeah,
why they
yeah.
should be excited for this fight when they saw him against Jorge, against the cage for 25 minutes, but
That's
then he
that's
comes
yeah.
back and has an impressive performance like this, But he still doesn't, talk too much shit or hype the fights up. I don't know. That's a combination of many things.
Yeah, I think that's the main factor. What he does in the cage, you know, compared to like who he is as a person on the outside, trying to promote and stuff. I think it's more he's not appreciated and he's not liked by the fans as much because of what he brings to the fight, and it's not always exciting to watch, and that's what people want to see. They want to see
Yeah, but if you
fighters
look
going
at
at it.
yeah, but if you also look at GSP, some people used to call GSP boring too, because he doesn't trash talk. Well, he's a humble guy. Usman, I think, is a humble guy.
Yeah.
Uh, and
But
he,
GSP had this other thing. He had this other thing about him that it gravitated a lot of people. Like people gravitated towards him, and that thing was about how I guess he's so nice, or he's such
yeah,
a nice guy. He's
yeah,
so
Humble
centered,
and
and he's
yeah,
yeah.
like
yeah.
super respectful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And the
Kind of
thing
like
is,
He
a kind of like
wasn't
a
someone
what?
who was like neither here nor there.
yeah,
Usman is someone like that who's neither here nor there.
the thing is, GSP, most of his opponents, when he became a champion, were trash talkers. Like Nick Diaz, Josh Goss, they used to talk bare shit. And the
So
people
for him
used
to not respond was special.
yeah, and people were bagging him to humble the guy that's talking trash. So that's
So
why
there
there
you go.
was,
There's your
you know what I mean?
attraction.
There you go. That and he would go and he would dominate them and humble them. But sometimes it would look boring. People say you lied on top of him for 25 minutes, but he would still dominate them and beat them. So I think that's what gave him, and he was Canadian, so he had a huge Canadian-based fan. He would fight in Montreal, and people would go crazy in
Oh yeah.
the arena,
Even in
or in Toronto.
Toronto,
Oh yeah. So
100%.
I think that's how he got big. And he also, he won those two fights against Matthew and Matt Serra, the
Yeah,
rematches.
he's kind of like a cult hero, in a
Yeah,
sense, and that's the difference. It's a difference. It's combination of things. Sure, they were both, probably boring fighters if you really want to label it like that. But there was just something about GSP as a person that made so many people flock and gravitate towards him.
yeah,
Where Usman just doesn't have that, or I mean,
yeah.
he just I don't know, it doesn't show. So I mean, I guess it's really unfair a little bit, and I think it's also the reason why he's calling out Masvidal again. You don't have a champ call out the guy you just beat again. You beat like 6 months ago.
I don't like that
That's
move.
that's poor. That's weak. And the only reason why he's doing something like that is because he makes more money than him. Masvidal against Usman will
Yeah.
make Usman more money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's as simple as that. I mean, this last weekend, Usman versus Burn, Usman won 600K,
Yeah.
and that was less than what he made in Fight Island last year
Yeah.
against Masvidal. So you question why he would call out Masvidal again, and it's because of that. And it's sad that a top 5 contender fighter and Jorge Masvidal has more fans and has more appreciation and brings in more money than Kamaru Usman, who's solid AF and has the record to show. And it's someone who's the champion has to call out to him to get that
Yeah.
fight. That's I don't know. I don't know about that. What do you think about
I
that?
mean, um, not just that, but I'm looking at it from a different perspective.
You're gonna look at it from the way that Kamaru says it, that he's just been talking too much
Mm,
trash.
no, not even. I'm just trying to be fair to the division. If you want the next fair fight, that would make sense for Usman. It has to be Wonderboy because he's already fought everyone else in the division, everyone else in the top 5. Wonderboy is the only one who hasn't fought him, and he's looking great. Give him the fight. Give him a chance.
I feel
You
like,
know,
yeah.
like he's fought Kobe, he fought Burns, he fought Leon Edwards back in the day.
He fought
He,
Kobe.
uh, Usman,
Usman.
Oh,
yeah,
Usman.
fought all of them,
That's the
right?
one.
Fought Jorge. So Come on, man. It just makes sense. Give him.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does
Wonder
make
Boy
Wonder
sense.
deserves
Boy
it.
for sure deserves. I feel like
And
he
he looked
deserves it,
great,
and
man. He
he's
looked really
striking.
good.
Wonder
It's
Boy
so
is
sharp.
probably has more fans than Usman too. He'll
Yeah.
probably make more money.
That's why I was more pissed. Not that, yeah, I get it. Like, I don't like Usman calling out Masvidal, especially after, he already won. But it's just as soon as I heard that, I'm like, come on, man. This guy, Wonder Boy, is getting shafted again. And I can definitely
You
see that
just
happen.
knew though he was gonna get shafted though.
Yeah, for sure. This is a big money fight. And yeah.
But Wonder Boy against Usman, how Burns rocked Usman. Wonder Boy with a kick can knock Usman out, man.
Give him the chance.
If he
Give him the
lands
fight.
it clean, yeah.
But landing it is another story. I don't know
I feel
about
like
that.
he's at that. Yeah, I feel like Wonder Boy is still at that level to compete for a title, especially in the current welterweight division. Like,
Yeah,
that's very
definitely.
stagnant.
Once the Hamza train basically derailed, this division is back to where it was. Where there was no excitement for anything. Yeah, Wonder Boy versus Usman would be awesome. I would love to see that.
When you see Wonder Boy outclass Jeff Neal and Vincente Luque like that, he outstruck them.
Yeah.
And if he's still at the top level when it comes to to striking and in this division. So why not give him another chance? Honestly.
Yeah, that'll be awesome to see. Hopefully, we get to see that. All right, guys. So that's pretty much all she wrote for UFC 258. This weekend is going to be another fight night coming up between Curtis Blades versus Derek Lewis. That's going to be an interesting fight. That fight has been postponed a couple of times, so hopefully we get to see it this weekend as well. We won't get into it too much because we're running out of time. But that fight, should be a fun one to watch. And hopefully next week we will talk to you about that one. All right, guys. So that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, get in the comments, follow us on Twitter. Let us know what you think on the show. Ask us your questions and all that good stuff. All right. So from everyone here at 4Fight Fans, we wish you a good night. Thanks. Take care. See you guys later.
See you next week, guys.
Take care, guys.
All right.
All right.